All right, Congressman Jack Kingston joining me here, endorsing Ted Cruz. You mentioned Trump in these prior statements. It seems to me one of the big issues in South Carolina that's different from New Hampshire is no one attacked Trump on his record in New Hampshire. They were so busy picking off Rubio and fighting with each other. They ignored Cruz, who already was signaling he wasn't going to play in New Hampshire as much as the other guys. And Trump got a complete pass, and now he's bounded into South Carolina. And you got Ted Cruz being the only guy now throwing punches at Donald Trump.
You know, it is interesting because what you have is a fight for second place, and I think that Rubio has some new energy, and I think George Bush does too. I think the debate last week was good for Bush. I think that, Lindsey Graham's doing everything he can, bringing in George and Mom and Dad. That sells in South Carolina. Tim Scott's on board with Rubio, but, the more you look at Rubio's resume, the more you see it's a little bit light. Compared to, for life experiences or business or decision making as a member of the U.S. Senate, he really hasn't accomplished that much. I think he's a solid, decent human being, but we as Republicans who criticize the current occupant of the White House as being inexperienced, and look what a disaster it's been, and we have to sort of measure our own candidates with that same stick, and we're reluctant to do so. I'm going to give you one example. I was very involved in something called risk corridors. It was a law that we passed in 2014 to say that insurance companies who lost money on Obamacare could not go after tax dollars to make up the difference. Sounds simple, but it was a real serious attack on Obamacare. Rubio is claiming credit for it right now, but Eric, when we were in the room getting this done, I can tell you he was not in the room. There were two of us in the House and one in the Senate who led that charge. It's now the law of the land, and Rubio's saying correctly that it is the most serious attack on Obamacare yet. I agree with him on that, but the second part, when he said he sponsored it, that's not true.
Okay, yeah, well, listen, I like Ted and Marco a lot and would rather dwell on Ted, and I totally get where the campaigns are coming from, particularly in the slugfest in South Carolina. We've only got about 30 seconds left. I would like to get from you, if you don't mind, what's your short elevator pitch for why someone should vote for Ted Cruz?
If you look at Uber Cab, 10 years ago and described it to somebody, they would have said, no way, we can't have that kind of disruption in a set market for public conveyance. And yet, Uber turned public conveyance upside down. Ted Cruz can do the same thing for politics, and everybody who's looked at Washington gets very, very frustrated and say, we do need a disruption. We do need a different kind of candidate who can fight for the causes and is electable from a major state. He's proven to be a great fundraiser, consistently a fighter and conservative in the style of Ronald Reagan, and that's Ted Cruz.
Congressman Jack Kingston endorsing Ted Cruz here on the radio. Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Okay, Eric. Take care. Thanks.